of you, faithful viewers of Equinoxe Television, 6 p.m. in Douala. And it's time for the news. We thank you so much for joining us tonight. Our major stories this evening: poor governance in Cameroon pushes the country to be ranked 105th among the 120 countries rated for poor governance by the Shandai Institute of Governance. Cameroon occupies the last position in the international influence and reputation category, an indication of the image the country has on the international scene. We bring to you reactions of other actors in this news edition. And as the presidential election gradually approaches in Cameroon, local authorities worry about the security of goods and persons amidst the very tense atmosphere in Cameroon at the moment. Authorities in the Douala 4 municipality are already mobilizing and calling on able men who can ensure calm during and after the presidential elections to work with local council officials in that area. Viewers, those are our lead stories. Details and more in just a moment. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you for the confidence. We begin with this human interest story. A gang of 5 suspected bandits have fallen into the dragnets of security forces of the Douala 2 Gendarmerie company. They were apprehended following a series of complaints from the local inhabitants of the city of Douala, who reports a surge and upsurge in the cases of armed robberies in that area. Their modus operandi was revealed during the reconstruction of facts. Lucy Liengu is here was there.
Motorcycles, clothes, wigs, phones, televisions, and other electronic appliances are among the items recovered by the Douala 2 Gendarmerie company. This follows a massive operation carried out in the city of Douala, where insecurity has been gaining momentum.
We were
informed that an armed robbery was carried out in the Cité de Palmiers neighborhood. However, upon arriving at the scene, we realized that the individuals involved had not been identified. Additionally, thanks to anonymous calls, we received rumors that an armed attack with the same modus operandi was ongoing in Dogbong, precisely at Cité Citadelle. Following multiple complaints and an anonymous tip, the Douala 2 Gendarmerie company, led by the commander of the Gendarmerie Legion and the commander of the Gendarmerie Group, was deployed. Investigations also revealed that the leader of the gang, Abdurrahman, is an ex-convict actively wanted in Yaoundé for a case involving 21 million francs CFA, but had taken refuge in Douala, where he continued his criminal activities.
Nous avons procédé à des interpellations qui nous ont permis de mettre la main sur 5 individus, à savoir un repris de justice et 4 autres de ses complices, parmi lesquels un receleur.
The 5 suspects, aged between 24 and 26, carried out robberies in various neighborhoods of Douala, targeting business places. On a Thursday morning, to their greatest surprise, upon arriving at their shop, they found the padlocks of their doors broken. The thief made away with goods, including wigs, cloths, bags, and other items amounting to approximately 620,000 francs CFA. According to the deputy commander of the Douala 2 Gendarmerie company, Lieutenant Bidima Joseph, the seized items were discovered in a hideout in the Dakar neighborhood. The 5 criminals who admitted to their crimes will appear before competent authorities in the days ahead. The National Gendarmerie urges the population to be more vigilant and dial the hotline numbers 113 or 1501 in case of any trouble. The Gendarmerie is on standby.
And the road network in the city of Douala is in total degradation. Most secondary roads are completely bad, especially during this rainy season. The city council has been rehabilitating with the use of paved blocks. But are paved blocks a lasting solution to poor roads in Douala? Our reporter Cedric Chakusio spoke with the local population and tells us more in the report which comes up next.
In a post on his social media handle, the Douala City Mayor announced the start of rehabilitation works on the stretch of road Kaufu-Eto to IPPB College, an announcement which sparked a wave of anger under his post. Some Cameroonians welcomed the rehabilitation works but raised concerns on the pavement which are usually placed each time works are done on our roads.
Si ma santé vraiment les palpitations. Il y a des femmes que je porte derrière la moto. Ils ont tellement de palpitations avec des vibrations.
The installation of these pavements on the roads of Douala are criticized by the population mainly because of their poor quality.
Pavé c'est la galère, c'est pas du tout une bonne initiative.
Which lead to significant discomfort and risk for road users. A point of example is a stretch Bepanda Safari to Bepanda 121.
De base, il faut une couche de base pour tenir, pour servir de fondation avant de rentrer sur la bande roulante. Là maintenant on a posé les pavés, il n'y a pas eu de couche de base, il n'y a pas de couche de fondation.
To them, though the pavements are sometimes used for their durability in flood zones,
Les mamans tombent, les enfants tombent.
the reality on the ground shows poorly executed works that does not solve the problems of circulation and evacuations of water.
L'eau est en roue, quand il pleut, on n'arrive même pas à passer. On n'arrive pas à passer.
Though a solution, road users will prefer good quality asphalt roads rather than poorly laid pavement roads that do not solve any traffic problems.
And now over to one of our lead stories. We told you that Cameroon has been ranked 105th among the 120 countries rated for poor governance by the Chandler Institute of Governance. Cameroon occupies the last position in the international influence and reputation category, an indicator that highlights the country's diplomatic weakness and degraded external image. Babila Jonathan talked to some analysts and compared their reactions in the following report.
Findings of the Chandler Institute of Governance show that Cameroon is one of the most poorly governed nations of the world. While the country stands out for its relatively better financial management, at the 65th position, it falls to the 112th for institutions, 105th for economic attractiveness, and the same level for aid to the population. Analysts point to the fact that at the last position in the international influence and reputation category, Cameroon's governance is marred by issues including corruption, embezzlement, mismanagement of public funds, nepotism, and tribalism, hindering economic growth.
If you look at our institutions, you look at the life standard, the standard of living of Cameroonians, you look at the society, it reflects the reality in Cameroon. It is very bad. It is very bad. Mr. Babida, how do you explain to the world that we have a leader who's been there for 42 years, 42, 43 years, and then he's still going for re-elections?
Poor branding of the nation's potentials is also identified as another side of the problem.
We don't know how to go out there as a country, talk to people, talk to investors, talk to even our citizens and so on. So when you have not developed the culture of proper communication, then you cannot sell your produce, then you cannot be that good as you wish to be.
Dr. Nick Kwanyam thinks the solution is entrepreneurship and a change in the country's educational system.
Entrepreneurship and learning how to create wealth is a very important thing for a nation, and if we don't go beyond that, we will always be lost at most of the things that are happening. Our educational system should improve so that we can do better and catch up with the rest of the world.
But Dr. Barrister Kamwa Limen says the solution can only come through a change of leadership.
People should vote out the president. We should do for the president. People should vote for a change. People should vote for a change in this country. They should vote a leader who can use the resources that we have to ameliorate the living standards, the living condition of the population.
At the African level, Mauritius, Rwanda, Botswana, Morocco, and South Africa are doing well, while Africa continues to have the lowest average governance score of all regions.
In other news, in a bid to strengthen economic cooperation and secure customs resources, the Ministry of Finance in Cameroon has put forward 10 critical recommendations following the signing of an accord with Nigeria. The accord aims to combat smuggling, enhance border security, and promote bilateral trade. The ministry's recommendations focus on improving revenue collection, enhancing transparency, and promoting economic growth. For me, Armstrong Sanda reports.
The ministry's recommendations focus on improving revenue collection, enhanced transparency, and promoting economic growth between Cameroon and the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Some of the key proposals in the ministry's recommendations include integrating more individuals and businesses into the tax nets to increase revenue collection, implementing electronic systems for tax filing, payments, and customs declaration to reduce corruption and improve efficiency, enhancing transparency and accountability. The ministry also recommends enhancing anti-fraud units' capabilities through training and technology, publishing budget execution reports and audit results to ensure accountability. Other recommendations from the ministry include prioritizing production investment over recurrent expenditure, providing fiscal incentives for sectors with high growth potentials such as agriculture and digital technology, creating a favorable framework to attract private investment for public infrastructure projects. The accord with the Federal Republic of Nigeria aims to a joint border patrol and intelligence sharing to combat smuggling and other cross-border crimes, developing alternative revenue sources such as taxes from the services sector, continuous training for officials on updating legal frameworks to match modern economic realities. The signing of the accord and the ministry's recommendations marks a significant step towards reinforcing economic cooperation between Cameroon and Nigeria. By working together, both countries can enhance their customs resources, promote economic growth, and improve the lives of their citizens.
And as the presidential election in Cameroon gradually approaches, quota heads in the Douala 4 subdivision have been tasked with mobilizing eligible persons to be in charge of security at the 380 polling stations come October 12 for a peaceful election in Cameroon. This was during a meeting with local authorities and those quota heads in Bonambape. It is a quota in the Douala 4 area. That meeting was presided over by Umaru Michel Dio for Douala 4. Innocent Asa with details.
The Bonambape Douala 4 security meeting that grouped the mayor and the quarter heads of the different neighborhoods was presided over by Umaru Michel, divisional officer of the subdivision. It is part of preparations ahead of the highly awaited October 12 presidential election, with objective being to nurse security for a peaceful electoral process. Regarding the magnitude of the upcoming event, it was imperative to hold this strategic security meeting with all the stakeholders of the electoral process.
De remobiliser tous les acteurs autour de cet enjeu afin de garantir des élections calmes et sécurisées dans notre unité.
The Douala 4 deal emphasized to the quarter heads to select at least 5 competent and trusted persons in their quarters and equip them to maintain security at the polling stations on the election day.
Non seulement de reconnaître physiquement les centres de vote nécessaires à une bonne planification sécuritaire, mais aussi et surtout adresser de près les enjeux sécuritaires liés à ce scrutin.
Umaru Michel and his entourage, including the quarter heads, then visited all the 380 polling stations in the 41 centers to evaluate the level of preparedness ahead of the election. In some areas where little or nothing has been done, the civil administrative officer demanded acceleration of works.
Vous avez 1500 personnes ici. Voilà. Donc il faut aménager la cour pour que ce soit prêt. Déjà pour la rentrée. Et ensuite pour l'élection.
In insecurity-prone areas, strategies have been adopted to enhance adequate security on voting day.
Et nous avons arrêté des stratégies et nous avons également précisé à l'attention de tous les acteurs le rôle précis qui est attendu d'eux.
All actors of the electoral process are expected to play their different roles for a peaceful election in the subdivision.
In a moment, we tell you how Cameroon is faring today. On Cameroon today, we take you to the Yoyo village in the Senegal Maritime Division, which has been described as a heaven. The area is in need of basic infrastructure, especially social amenities. Yoyo village has just one health center, which was founded by some missionaries from Spain, but that center has been completely abandoned. Our reporter Manjikan Gabriel on Cameroon today takes us to discover the lone center, the health center at the Yoyo village in the Sanaga Maritime Division of the Littoral region.
On our second day in Yoyo, we decided to leave the seashore to discover other parts of the village. Our first stop was Yoyo 1 with its unique mechanic workshop. At our arrival, we met a calm environment apart from the children who were playing. Our guide, Adebayo, had once told us about a hospital. We are in search of it. But on our way, we met an old generator which had been abandoned in the bush. We finally arrived at the lone health center in Yoyo. From the signboard, it seems very new, but close to it, the building harboring the health center is an opposite. The roof is half removed by winds. Ancient doors still hanging. Difficult for a visitor to believe it's a health center, but might confuse it for a haunted and abandoned structure of which people from all over Yoyo are treated there. Therese is in charge of the health center, and as the only doctor in the village, she always smiles while taking care of her patients. Every morning she has as duty to move around and check her patients. But how long has the health center been existing? The health center is about 40 to 45 years old. I was told missionaries opened it. They came from Spain. Almost 50 years of existence, but the state of the health center was not good. I have been here for almost 4 years. This health center has been abandoned, as you can see, dilapidated. And when I arrived, I tried my best to make it look presentable so that people can have a place they can heal themselves when sick. Taking care of the sick has never been an easy one, as the luckiest patients will be administered drips. The health center has so many things lacking. No laboratory, surgical materials not available, admission rooms and bed, as well as electricity, potable water. The building itself, it's a shame, because when it rains, we can't keep patients here. Therese is doing her best with what she has at her disposal. Though close to the sea, water remains a key problem to the health center. Because of the limited means at her disposal, sometimes Therese is forced to refer cases out of Yoyo. Well, we are still at the level of a health center. We mainly do observations, and when we don't attain the goal we want, we are forced to refer the case to another hospital. Though it's difficult with the roads, but we are obliged to use motorbikes, and if possible, we can have vehicles too, but it's very difficult because we are in an enclave zone. I have had 2 cases of strokes. We used a motorbike from Mwanko, but they wasted time to pick up the patients. At least 10 patients come each day to be treated at the health center. The health center itself needs to be diagnosed and treated.
Thanks, Matt. And now let's meet our guest in just a moment. Welcome back, viewers. Our guest tonight is one of the 12 presidential candidates for this year's election in Cameroon, Hiram IYODI. Thank you so much, Hiram, for accepting to be our guest on the news tonight. Now, Cameroonians, especially the young people, have been hearing about Hiram IYODI, who is the candidate for the youth, as you're being tagged for this year's election in the country. We want to know who Hiram IYODI is. Can you tell us briefly about yourself?
Hiram IYODI is a Cameroonian. I'm a citizen. I'm 38 years old. I've been raised in Douala. I made my secondary school in Alfred Secker in Berman. Then I flew to Canada to study chemical process engineering. I've been back in Cameroon since 2011. That specific year I published a book talking about how youth should get involved in order to transform our country. I've been a long youth movement activist. I've been involved in politics for more than 10 years now. I was the political program coordinator of Barrister Akelimuna in the last presidential election. I am the founding member of the Movement for Patriotism and the People's Prosperity, the MP3 party, which I led as the executive secretary, and now I'm the presidential candidate of the DFC, the Democratic Front of Cameroon.
Okay, tell us how you got involved into politics.
I've always been involved into politics. I have parents and grandparents who were involved into politics. My first job that I wanted to do was politician. I finally went to do engineering classes because my father explained to me that politics was not really a job to have. So I've always had a strong interest in community works. As I said, I was a youth leader. So I always wanted to serve and to help transform our country. And I think that now was the time to build and to defend by myself my political offer.
Okay, you just spoke about your father. We want to know what encouragement or discouragement to get from your parents when they notice that we're getting more and more involved or interested into politics. I would say the chance with my parents. I have parents who already always encourage each of their children to do exactly what they wanted to. So I think they helped me choose my way, my path. They have always been behind me, try to push me to get better in anything I choose to do. So now that I'm involved in politics, I can still feel their support. All right, now Hiram, you are an inspiration to so many Cameroonians, like I said, especially the youth. But some of them think that you are a little young for the top job, the top position of being the president of Cameroon. What can you tell those Cameroonians who doubt your capacity?
A huge responsibility. I think that I've always been categorized as a young candidate. I'm a candidate. I just like the others who want to lead this country. But I think that I have the responsibility not to fail, because if I fail, I will have helped to have a bad opinion on our youth. So it's a huge responsibility, and I think that I am up to the task.
And Hiram, before aspiring to be the president of the country, there should be some state affairs which you think are really urgent and should be addressed urgently. If you are elected president come October 12th, what are some of those issues in the country you are going to address first?
But the first thing I would say is how many presidential candidates in the history of Cameroon have been a local councillor before running for president. So it's not an argument. For the president's election, we ask us two things. The first thing is your program, and the second thing is your skills. So I may be young, but I think I have more leadership and management skills than way more of other competitors. I've been managing industry for so many years now. I've been a consultant in complex fields as oil and gas and industrial. So I know how to manage people. I know how to bring people together to work towards the same goal. And I think that I have everything, just like the other competitors, to try to convince Cameroonians that I'm the one who should be elected in October 12th.
I'm going to come back to my question, maybe rephrase it somehow. If you're elected come October 12th, what state affairs are you going to address first as an emergency?
The global governance system. I won't talk specifically about the Anglophone crisis. I won't talk about what's happening in the Far North in terms of kidnapping people, or last year in terms of water flow. I think that we have a governance system that have all the power in Yaoundé, and that needs to go quickly. I won't talk about decentralization. I'm a strong fighter of federalism. We need to give back the power into the hands of our citizens, and the only way to do that is to have a form of state, is to have a model of governance that allow people at the local level to take decision on the matters that concern them.
Thank you, Hiram. You just mentioned the Anglophone crisis, which has killed so many persons in the last 7 years or so in the Northwest and Southwest regions. Can you tell us what's your perception of the Anglophone crisis, and how soon do you think that crisis can be handled and resolved?
My understanding is that our brothers and sisters were not heard. We choose not to hear them, not to listen to them, not to try to listen to their pains when they start expressing their frustration, we choose the path of violence that led to an army conflict. I think that the only way to solve this matter is to bring people back at the same table and to leave our brothers and sisters tell exactly how they feel. We should not have some of the topic that should be banned from the discussion. We should talk about the form of the state. We should talk about our economic model. We should talk about the judiciary, the educational systems. So our proposition is to start building a strong and transparent consultation as I am elected at the head of the state. We should take at least 1 year to listen to everybody, first and mostly our brothers from the northwest and the southwest region, but all Cameroonians, with the goal to hold a national sovereign conference 1 year after being elected, so in October 2026, and that sovereign national conference will give the proposition for a new constitution that will have been drafted through the proposition of Cameroonians. I think that it will be the first time in our history that Cameroonians will be the one drafting our constitution.
Hiram, we are gradually getting to the end of this conversation. Now we will want to know, what's your idea? What do you think about forming a coalition in Cameroon to host the 43-year-old regime, and how open are you to a coalition in the country?
I think we should work towards a coalition, but as I always said, coalition is first a convergence of ideas. So first of all, we should have all the competitors putting their political offer on the table, and we can just try to work and to see how we can have the same vision of how our country and our future should be built. I am open to any option. I've been talking and discussing with all the other competitors. I'm pretty much positive, but I think that this shouldn't be a matter of person. It should be a matter of the future of our country, and we should have all the competitors. We should be open to accept that by the end, there won't be the person chosen to run this coalition.
Now, Hiram IYODI, this last question before we go. So many youths in Cameroon take you as your model because you're daring and you're determined. And yesterday we saw you at the Douala Central Market communing with young people, traders at the Douala Central Market. Now we want you to look at them, look at the camera, and talk to those people ahead of the October 12 presidential election, those Cameroonians who take you as your model. What can you tell them?
I just want to tell to each and every one of you that our time has come, the time to build a new country with a new political leadership. But this huge task should not only rely on me, it should rely on to each of us. So I am asking you to please, on October 12th, go and vote. We will find all the way to protect your vote. I think that the political battle is a generational one. Our parents, they did what they had to do, and now we have a responsibility before the history. Other African countries are showing us the example, and I think we can achieve it. We should not be afraid. We have all the skills, we have all the ideas, we have all the conviction to build a strong and united and peaceful Cameroon. So that I hope that you will just come with me so we can achieve this goal and build the dynamic that will win on October 12th. Thank you one more time for having me today.
Thank you to Hiram IYODI for accepting to be our guest on the news tonight. And like you told us off air, at this moment, everything is possible in Cameroon. Hope to have you some other time, especially when the campaigns begin. Viewers, thank you so much for being with us on this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. That was what we put together for you. Our programs continue tonight. Equinoxe will be yours at 7 p.m. and the news in the French language with Achille Kamga comes up at 8 p.m. Stay with us on Equinoxe Television and have a blessed weekend in the company of our programs. From Monday, you will be with Immaculate Fogwe. Bye-bye for now.